Thanks for checking out GuitarTricks.com recently.
Trump campaign's dangerously malignant and cartoonishly incompetent efforts to steal the election are not over yet. Rudy Giuliani today appeared before a federal judge in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, to make sweeping and baseless claims in a last-ditch effort to keep the state from certifying its election results. That's obviously what they're trying to do in state after state. Now, it is a state that Joe Biden has won by more than 73,000 votes, and some still left to count. Today's court appearance by Giuliani comes after the Trump campaign dropped their most serious allegations in the case, and two different sets of lawyers quit. And then just yesterday, the campaign replaced them with Mark Scaringi. He's a lawyer and a talk show host who said on the day the race was called for Joe Biden that, quote, litigation will not work and to reverse this election. Now, the Trump campaign has put one man in charge of its election stealing efforts. The jack of all trades, the hero of the Battle of the Four Seasons total landscaping, the star of the new Borat movie, Donald Trump's impeachment bagman, America's mayor, you know him, you love him, the Roadster. No matter he hasn't argued before a federal judge in 28 years, his membership to the D.C. bar is administratively suspended for non-payment of fees, and he reportedly wants $20,000 a day for his services. That guy was arguing for the president before a federal judge today, unspooling fakakta conspiracy theories worthy of a Newsmax interview. I'm joined now by the attorney who argued against Rudy Giuliani in court today, representing Philadelphia, Allegheny, Montgomery, and Chester counties, Mark Aronczyk. Mr. Aronczyk, it's good to have you on. First, I wonder if we could just start with what was the case? What was the Trump campaign asserting? What was the argument before this judge?
The Trump campaign came in through Mr. Giuliani asserting a fantasy world. It was a case that somehow involves 11 different states in a gigantic conspiracy with the biggest cities in the United States all joining in to somehow manufacture votes and change mail-in ballots and somehow throw the election to Joe Biden. And I sat there dumbfounded because the story that was presented by Mr. Giuliani bore no relationship to the actual complaint in the case. And, when you're in court, you have to talk about the complaint. You have to talk about your facts. You have to talk about the law. When you're at Four Seasons Total Landscaping, I guess you can talk about anything. There seemed to be no distinction in what I heard today. And I pointed that out very strongly to the court.
So, the complaint, it sounded like he just sort of gave a kind of Giuliani monologue about all the nefarious actors who are trying to steal the election, independent from whatever the kind of legal claims they were pursuing was. But am I right that the remedy they're seeking here is to throw out all the votes in Allegheny County and in Philadelphia?
Yeah, it was interesting. The remedy kept multiplying as Mr. Giuliani was talking. It started off that he was after 680,000 votes, and by the time he finished his speech, I think we were up to 1,200,000 votes and counting, I guess. It's absurd on its face. In fact, the whole presentation was absurd on its face. But I think what was telling was that when you're in a court and you have to sometimes explain yourself, you have to answer questions that the judge asks, and the judge pressed, is this about fraud? And where is it pled that this is about fraud? And after some hemming and hawing, Mr. Giuliani basically said, no, this wasn't a complaint based on fraud. Instead, it was based on some kind of all I can say is some kind of strange conspiracy idea. But what was also telling was that his opening statement practically was that he wanted to amend the complaint again. In other words, they've already amended this complaint once and took out almost everything that they had pled initially. All sorts of propositions fell out of the case. He then said some of that was a mistake. He wanted to put them back in. He wanted to amend the complaint again. It was, the proverbial moving target.
Идем за продуктами, а сами отдыхать, пока Сбермаркет идет в магазин за нас. Попробуйте и вы, и получите продукты в день заказа.
Ваш заказ собран.
Сбермаркет. Ходите в магазин по-новому.
Nova is a full gym in your hands that enables you to work out where you are right now and enjoy the same benefits as weights without the weight. Powered by our patented Spireflex technology with 10, 20, 30, up to 40 pounds of smooth Spireflex resistance that feels like plate-loaded equipment at the gym. T-handles provide a better grip to control the higher resistance levels and are reinforced with steel tubes. Nova features the same type of nylon-coated stainless steel cables used on health club equipment and the fitness breakthrough no other gym has. Double flex activation, providing resistance to opposing muscle groups within a single movement, building a balanced body in less time. You can expand the range of exercises by anchoring the Nova gym to your foot or a door. If you have the time for the crowded health club, that's great. But what if you could save time and do those same exercises where you are right now? Chest fly, back fly, bicep, tricep.
What is sound texture? Sound texture is sound imagination in 3D. To imagine the notes and sound texture, you need to substitute the timbre of violins and cellos with the pitch of a sound in a liquid watery texture and then moving down. Pitch in this sense is not the timbre of the piano. It's simply a shadow of a sound like that which you experience when a familiar tune comes to mind. Liquid texture doesn't mean visual effects, like shimmering vibrations of water. It's more a tactile sensation, like that which you experience when moving your hand in water, feeling how the texture of the liquid embraces your skin. Move the sound down doesn't mean a sudden drop in the sound. It's a gradual descent into the water with an even sinking effect. And just like when imagining sound movement to the right or left, there should be no resistance in the movement. Why we need sound texture? Imagining notes in sound texture will help you to keep your hands more relaxed and gentle while playing, which improves your tone and technique. Imagining sounds in 3D affects muscle sensation. The sensation of melting soft muscles creates the effect of non-existent hands. Why we began with imagining notes in the timbre of violins. Why we need sound texture. Imagining notes in sound texture will help you to keep your hands more relaxed and gentle while playing, which improves your tone and technique. Imagining sounds in 3D affects muscle sensation. The sensation of melting soft muscles creates the effect of non-existent hands. Why we began with imagining notes in the timbre of violins and cellos. When you start training your inner musical ear with mental practice, it's always easier to imagine familiar sounds in 2 dimensions. The same applies to sound movement. Moving the sound to the right or left in your mind is easier when imagining string instruments and the motion of their bows. Note that in sound texture, you no longer need to imagine the pitch and the timbre of instruments. How to imagine sound texture? To create 3D sound, you need to give it a watery texture. This allows you to transcend 2D and lower the sound. Listen to a note played with a sustain pedal, focusing on how much depth and space it gives to the sound. Feel the liquid texture of the sound without visualizing shimmering water. While listening, move the sound down in the same way that you move the sound to the right or left in sound movement imagination. At the very end, add sound movement to the right or left. You will find more exercises and instructions about how to imagine sound texture in the next 2 lessons. Imagine one note at a time. Listen to and remember timbre examples of violins and cellos in the Adagietto of Mahler's Fifth Symphony or any other piece that has similar warm, soft and well-resonated sound. The quality of the sound of music that you listen to will affect the quality of imagined sound, and this will affect inner sensations in the muscles of your hands. Therefore, listening and imagining a flat, harsh, and non-resonant sound like that of a single violin will create tense and stiff sensations in your muscles while playing. Practice the following steps with each note in 4 measures. Sing a note with sound movement. Imagine the same note in timbre with sound movement. Use the timbre of violins for notes above middle C. Imagine.
Забирать, думаешь, нет. Да, ну да, ладно, только всего. Не андердог, что ли? Не андергоинг, то есть? Андергоинг, да? Андергоинг. Это не надо, тут печально. Семья это тоже печально, ну, в смысле. Больше, чем семья. Мужик же больше, чем семья, согласен, понимаешь? Ну как ты объяснишь? Ну, да. Жили как могли, понимаешь, все и так это жили, да? Ну, получается, я правда, я просто говорю, жили как могли, все, да? Ладно, все плей. Что был вверх? Андердоги.
Imagine a sequence of notes. Practice the following steps with each bar in 4 measures. Sing a sequence out loud with sound movement and glissando. If you need to keep yourself in pitch, touch the key lightly only after singing the note, playing in this same octave. Imagine the sequence in timbre with sound movement and glissando. Imagine.
Тоже там своя какая-то не в этой штучке. Нет, нет, я такой. Можно так трактор вылететь? Трактор вылететь.
Imagine one note at a time. Listen to and remember timbre examples of violins and cellos in the Adagietto of Mahler's Fifth Symphony or any other piece that has similar warm, soft and well-resonated sound. The quality of the sound of music that you listen to will affect the quality of imagined sound, and this will affect inner sensations in the muscles of your hands. Therefore, listening and imagining a flat, harsh and non-resonant sound like that of a single violin will create tense and stiff sensations in your muscles while playing. Practice the following steps with each note in 4 measures. Sing a note with sound movement. Imagine the same note in timbre with sound movement. Use the timbre of violins for notes above middle C. Imagine. Imagine a sequence of notes. Practice the following steps with each bar in 4 measures. Sing a sequence out loud with sound movement and glissando. If you need to keep yourself in pitch, touch the key lightly only after singing the note, playing in this same octave. Imagine the sequence in timbre with sound movement and glissando. Imagine. Imagine an interval chord. Listen to and remember timbre examples of violins and cellos in the Adagietto of Mahler's Fifth Symphony. Practice the following steps with each interval in 4 measures. Sing and imagine the notes of the interval chord repeatedly, each time reducing the time between the notes. Sing without glissando. When it's impossible to sing the interval at once, keep imagining until all the notes sound simultaneously in your mind. Imagine. Imagine. Keep imagining. Together. 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 Imagine both staves together. Imagine a note sequence in timbre with sound movement and glissando. You can still slightly break intervals in your imagination if it's hard to imagine them at once.
Hello, I'm James McKeever. I'm in my studio in our beautiful new music facility here. All right, so the wrist is central to what we're doing. It helps organize the movements. With a tight wrist, you have a roadblock to using the rest of your mechanism, and you're going to have tension. So the wrist has to be flexible, and as we mentioned earlier, the Russian method, it's designed to get the music intended. Simplest example is a two-note slur. We play a two-note slur a little firmer on the first note and lighter on the second note. So the stronger movement goes on the first note, the drop, and the up, which is a weaker movement, plays
Как это может быть? Как это выглядит? На самом деле, все что ли? Ну нет, так-то вот так вот.
This video was filmed without sound. Is it possible to use only these images to reconstruct the sound? That is, can you hear pictures? In this video, I'm going to try to demonstrate that it's possible to get sound from pictures, but it's not going to be easy, so I'm going to need some help. This episode was sponsored by LastPass, which allowed me to fly to the Bay Area to meet with one of my science heroes. So now, on with the video.
How you doing? Sorry, part of my concern is that I like threw all this crap over here. So this was the experiment that I came up with.
It's like a crumpled up ball of tinfoil?
Yeah, like if I had a more powerful camera and I had like the right lens, then, you know, we could do something that looks more like you're spying on somebody.
Yeah.
But we should be able to demonstrate that you can recover like a rhythm or a sound from, you know, whatever camera you have.
Now, you might think it would be easy to record sound in video, because after all, sound is just vibrations. So the air is vibrating back and forth, and everything it hits should vibrate back and forth too. So you think all we need to do is video that motion and plot displacement versus time, and then recover the sound. But it's not that simple. Because for one thing, I mean, these sound vibrations are incredibly tiny. They move objects only about 1 micrometer. And even if you're super zoomed in, that is way less than a pixel. We're talking 100th or 1,000th of a pixel.
We're not seeing something that is at 1 pixel move to an adjacent pixel. You're seeing 1 pixel get slightly darker, and the next pixel gets slightly brighter.
What objects work best for recovering sound?
So the things that work best are things that have a lot of damping but are also very light, so that they move very readily with changes in air pressure.
So what are some good examples?
Well, like a bag of chips. You know, the initial experiments were very contrived in a way. You know, we had these objects on optical benches, we were blasting light at them. The sounds were as loud as we could make them.
Mary had a little lamb. Little lamb, little lamb.
I figured we'd try to do a rhythm. So this is shaving a haircut. Let's put that camera on a tripod. Oh yeah, that'd be great.
All right, well, let's give it a shot. This is the actual clip I recorded, and I want you to notice two things. First, you can't really see much motion. And second, there are plenty of pixels getting dimmer and brighter because of image noise. I mean, it's not a pristine, perfect image. So how do you tell the difference between pixels getting brighter and dimmer due to tiny movements versus noise?
Essentially, you look for edges in the image, and then you say, well, if the object moves by some fraction of a pixel in one particular direction, then pixels on one side of that edge will get a little bit brighter, pixels on the other side of that edge will get a little bit darker. And so basically what we do is we sum together all the ones that are supposed to get brighter and subtract all the ones that are supposed to get darker. And then that gives us sort of one number, right? And if you track that number over time, then that gives you an estimate of the displacement over time. This is time, but in samples. And then this is position.
So what do you do now?
Well, we're gonna try to do some filtering on that. It's clipping.
You don't say.
I mean, it's not much. It's not much, but you can recognize two of the beats. This is what we've recovered from 180 frames per second, which isn't really a whole lot within the range of audible frequencies. So that's why, kind of the most we can hope for here is a bit of a rhythm.
Now, of course, the main limiting factor is frame rate, because we can hear sounds from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, but most cameras only shoot 30 frames per second, so they miss virtually all of the sound frequencies. Imagine this is the motion created by a 30 hertz sound. If you try to capture this with a camera at 30 frames per second, you would end up seeing the object always in the same position because it's at the same point in the wave cycle. So your perception would be that the object is not moving at all. So in order to measure a frequency of sound, you actually need to sample at least twice that frequency, which is why a lot of music is sampled at 44 or 48 kilohertz. That's more than twice as much as the highest sound we can hear.
At any rate, if you want to get something more intelligible, you're going to need some higher frame rate camera.
So we just went to the camera store and picked up a new camera that should be able to shoot 1,000 frames per second or thereabouts. Nice. Is that going to be enough?
It'll be enough for something.
I love that confidence.
Согласитесь, что YouTube — это новый телевизор. Хотите узнать, как вы можете зарабатывать на ведении YouTube-канала?
This is one modulation away from dubstep right here. It's just a little bit more of a wump wump, and then we'd have the next big track.
I've set it to 1,000 frames per second. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you have
to left when you're looking at the seats. Mike Hopkins is in seat 2, that's the commander's seat, and then Victor Glover will be beside him in gravity contains humanity when we explore as one.
We are essentially venting pressure, purging the engine out, making sure everything is quiet in preparation.
Take a look. That's inside Crew Dragon right now. Our Crew 1 crew now coasting in low Earth orbit, still attached to that second stage. In just a couple of minutes, we should see that second stage separate and Crew Dragon will be flying free. And separation confirmed. You can see that second stage departing. Crew Dragon leaving it behind.
Separation confirmed.
Confirmation from teams on the ground and the crew. You can see them monitoring those 3 display panels, monitoring their journey to the International Space Station and where they are in the world right now, or over the world, I should say.
And Dragon SpaceX, just for timeline awareness, burn is in about just under 1 minute.
And copy that. We see it starts in 40 seconds.
Еще одна установка для наблюдения поперечных стоячих волн в струне с закрепленными концами. Роль струны выполняет провод, по которому от генератора пропускается переменный ток любой заданной частоты от 20 Гц до 20 кГц. Это постоянный магнит. На провод с током в магнитном поле действует сила ампера. Поскольку ток переменен, поле постоянно, сила ампера меняется с той частотой, с какой меняется ток в проводе. И эта сила ампера выполняет роль возбудителя колебаний в струне. Для того, чтобы возбудить колебания определенного номера обертона, ну, скажем, основной тон, по концам струны узлы, в середине пучность. Магнит надо поставить в серединке. Если мы хотим возбудить следующую моду колебаний, первый обертон, когда в середине узел, а пучность на четверть от конца струны, надо поставить постоянный магнит вот здесь. Спрашивается, где? Надо всегда ставить постоянный магнит там, где будет пучность той моды колебаний, которую вы хотите возбудить. Ну вот сейчас начнем с основного тона. Иногда его называют нулевым обертоном. Струна натянута весьма солидно. Вот эта достаточно толстая пластина все-таки вибрирует. Основная мода колебаний, основной тон, на длине струны укладывается половинка длины волны. Ну а теперь давайте выключим ток, переместим магнит и постараемся возбудить колебания первого обертона. Поскольку будет один узел, значит, 2 половинки длины волны, частота в 2 раза больше. Включаем ток. Ну, действительно, вот узел, вот здесь пучность и вот тут пучность. Первый обертон. Следующий обертон, значит, будут 2 узла, пучность посередочке. Значит, лучше всего поставить магнит опять в середине. Увеличить частоту и включить ток. Ну вот. Вот узел. Вот пучность. Значит, раз узел. Два узел. Пучность. Раз. Там, где магнит, два. И вот здесь три. Так что мы наблюдаем основной тон, первый обертон и второй обертон. Пытаться возбудить обертоны более высокие можно, конечно, но амплитуда колебаний будет настолько мала, что трудно будет увидеть тот факт, какая мода колебаний имеет место.
Ничего, это я. Это на имеет играть. Никто не спорит.
Hi everyone! In this video tutorial I'm going to show you in detail how to use our thumbs in piano playing, which is the correct thumb position, how to move our thumb when playing different types of passages, which movements are correct, ergonomic and comfortable, and which movements can cause tension and pain and have to be avoided. I will begin by sharing with you one of the most important holistic principles of piano playing. The fact that piano playing is the art of playing with your arms, not only with your fingers. In piano playing and also in everything we do in life, it's impossible to separate one part of our arm from the other. All our ligaments and muscles in the arm are connected. So if you feel pain or tension in your thumb, it doesn't always mean that you're simply using your thumb incorrectly. It can also mean that you're raising your shoulders, that you're keeping your elbows too close to your sides, keeping them tensed. And of course, most of the time it means that you're keeping your wrist like this, immobile, without relaxing it, without keeping it flexible, and without allowing the entire weight of your arm to be channeled into your fingertips, which is the essence of the whole arm action principle, the foundation of a correct, healthy, enjoyable, and productive piano playing habit. This is the correct arm, hand, finger, and thumb position. Our second, third, fourth, and fifth fingers can move only. Like this, up and down. The thumb, however, is our super finger because it can move both up and down and from side to side. For this reason, the thumb is that secret key that allows us to connect the entire keyboard on legato, no matter if we play scales or arpeggios, because thanks to its amazing properties, it allows us to perform these thumb crossings that give us the illusion that instead of 5 fingers, we have many fingers, because we're always able to play some more. Now, this is the correct thumb position. The thumb is positioned like this, and it is slightly rounded, slightly pointing inwards towards the palm. And now the most important part, how we have to move our thumb and in which direction we have to move our thumb in order to avoid tension and to make sure that we improve our piano playing skills. When we use our thumb, we can move it like this, or we can move it like this, especially when we perform the thumb crossings. However, please notice one thing. And if you practice this way, if you're always aware, of the flexibility of your wrist, of the flexibility and relaxation of your arm, you're never going to hurt your thumb muscles. And if you practice this way, if you're always aware of the flexibility of your wrist, of the flexibility and relaxation of your arm, you're never going to hurt your thumb muscles, because they are never going to be strained, they're never going to be overworked, and all your pianistic skills or your finger muscles are going to get developed gradually. And remember, your fingers are a continuation of your entire arm, and not separate entities that have to be moved like this. As long as you play from your entire arms, at the same time keeping your fingers sharp and articulated, then you're going to see amazing progress in everything you do. Good luck, enjoy your practice, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye!
Хотите научиться рисовать? Многие думают, что им не хватает таланта или что рисовать это слишком...
Для работающих, но пострадавших из-за пандемии коронавируса предприятий малого и среднего бизнеса в правительстве страны продлили налоговые каникулы. О какой отсрочке идет речь, знает моя коллега Ирина Кропачева, она уже в студии «Вестей». Ирина, вам слово.
Отсрочка по налогам, авансовым платежам страны. Данная мера позволит на налоговые...
Ну что, куда? Куда-то еще посыхать-то, да? Что, будет хорошо? Здорово. А, ужасно выглядит. А, ну да, я буду просто. Мы еще Москву встречаем. Я-то здесь причем жил. Ладно, все. Я пойду. Нет. Нет, наоборот. Нет, наоборот. Вот так вот, да. Нет, он говорит, нет. Так надо.